I firmly believe that these kinds of things don't happen by accident, and these events were actually triggered generations ago into this community in ways that we didn't even know.
We had talked about creating something like this and beautifying Tri-Cities, especially Pasco, about 9 years ago.
It just seems surreal right now. Everything does.
Meant to impart importance, and truly today is an important day.
Right.
I was like feeling something here when I was just watching it, and I was like, oh my God. So I'm sure everybody feels that.
Good. Felt like I was on Oprah. Like, whoa, it's one of those moments.
Whereas the City of Pasco is committed to embracing diversity and promoting equality through our workforce, residents, business, and visitors.
We band together in pride of who we are and what we do for each other as a way to show other communities that while you may be criticizing us, we're connected and united around proud of Pasco.
Bringing awareness to our community for our compassion and willingness to change in our diverse culture.
Once you get to your own definition of a mountaintop, you give it away. You give away what you've been given, and so I'm giving that to my community and the kids that I work with in my community, that same seed of hope. Hey, my name is Jordan Chaney, and I'm a poet, and I'm here at Pasco High School Auditorium for the day before school goes back. They're doing a kickoff celebration, and today I'm going to be thanking the Pasco School District teachers, and I'm going to be talking about hope in our community hope wall and how it not only impacts every single one of us, but all of our youth that often get unheard in our community. So I hope that you enjoy the talk, and try to keep hope in your heart and spread it far and wide.
I have the honor of introducing to you Mr. Jordan Chaney. Mr. Jordan Chaney is a spoken word poet who has helped the youth of our community and across this country find their voice in inspiration for bridging the gap. It is my extraordinary honor to introduce to you Jordan Chaney.
Yeah, look at that little cute guy right there. Can you find me? So I got a chance to speak to all of you here a few weeks ago at the Red Lion, and I shared a story about my champion, my ace, the one who really gave me hope when I was a child. Right? Me and my mom were talking about it last night. I said, Mom, somebody found the photo, my first grade photo. I went to Captain Gray in the first grade. I shared a pretty open wound. I remember telling my mom that I wanted to go live with Mrs. Gonzalez. And I loved her so much because she loved me and I felt it. She made me believe, she convinced me that I could be anything that I wanted to be, but not by really coaching me through it. She planted this idea, this seed of hope inside of me. And that's what teachers are doing. You guys are planting a seed of hope. Yeah, you got the subjects and yeah, you got the papers to grade and all that. But for a child like me who was desperately trying to run from his home, who couldn't bear to see what his grandma, his aunts and uncles and his mother were suffering with, everything from mental health issues to drug addiction, I felt that my path was destined for that. And statistics prove that that usually is the case. Generational poverty is real. And what disrupts it, what breaks it up, what gives us an opportunity to succeed is hope. And all you surrogate parents that signed up to be everybody's foster mom or foster dad, You saved a child like me. You put in me a big seed of hope. There it is, yeah. A big old seed of hope, and we had to convert it from Keynote to PowerPoint, so it shifted. But when I made it, it was centered. It's hope. It truly is hope. What does hope do for people? Well, when Michelle and I were speaking about this whole talk and things going on in the community, it shows that when people have something to look forward to, they're more likely to hang on and try, right? And given the dire circumstances and the bleak circumstances of my childhood, I ran to school. I ran to school every day because it gave me hope. It truly gave me hope. That seed continues to grow, right? Because of Mrs. Gonzalez, I believe that I could become a poet and travel the world and do all the fun things I ever thought I could do. It made me believe that even though I didn't have a dad, I could still rise to the challenge and be a father. It made me believe that even though the world may look like it's suffering and it's wounded and that we should give up and throw our hands in the air and turn away from everybody else's problems but our own, the hope seed keeps sprouting in me. And at the Juvenile Justice Center, we created an art dojo, right? Down in the basement, right? In the place where it's actually pretty dark and creepy down there without the art and stuff, you know? Right, to make it beautiful, right? We got, the walls are purple, right? You guys like that color. But it's really because of Donatello. That's my favorite Ninja Turtle. And then we have the kids, you know, creating these huge murals. Some of the kids that we work with, I truly believe are savants. They're incredible. They're painting 5-foot murals and they're locked up. Some of my kids are going away for a long time. And it breaks my heart. But it doesn't break the mission because of hope, right? The vision got bigger. On the mental health unit over there in the Juvenile Justice Center, our first mural was this one here. The kids go, one time a kid told me, hey, mister, you know, rich kids, they go to counseling. Poor kids, we go to juvie. Like, ooh, now we got counselors at the juvie too, so, you know. And then the kids that I was working with, some of them are facing long sentences and they're still helping me paint. They're still helping me paint this mural, this idea, this message that even in those places, even when you have almost nothing that you think you could look forward to, there's still a ray of hope. There's still a ray of hope that you can look forward to, that you can hold on to. The vision got bigger, right? Seeds grow. If you keep watering the right seed, it'll grow. The community's really coming together. And I'll confess something. When I announced this big vision, this idea that we're gonna make this hope wall, I personally was not in the best place in my life. I just wasn't. I wasn't taking the best care of myself that I knew I could and should be. The hope wall became a bit of a pressure, but then it became a personal mission. And everything that the hope wall was doing is exactly what I was doing. It's hanging on, right? Wanting to share a bigger message, one that kind of ties us all together, regardless of what's going on. That is, there are forces that are trying to drive us apart every single day, every time we get online. Something is trying to drive us apart. But the one thing that keeps pulling us back together are ideas like hope, are ideas like love. They persist. They're timeless ideas and qualities for a reason. It's for times like these. In the brainstorming session, Michelle, your superintendent, she inspired me. And I was writing notes down, and she said the idea of wanting to spread a message of hope universally to staff and students alike. And I like that. I like that a lot. So along with the Community Hope Wall, we want to have a holiday. We want to make our own holiday, right? And it's not going to be on like a weekday, so you won't get the day off or anything. It's going to be like on a Saturday, you know? And the Pasco Community Day of Hope is going to be to observe all things to be hopeful for, from the air in our lungs to the wellness of our friends in the community. Whatever hope is for you, that's how we're going to celebrate it, by recognizing that we all need it. We all need just a little bit of it. You could call me a hope dealer. Yeah. I learned from the greatest, Mrs. Gonzalez. Yeah, she was the first hope dealer I ever met. You know? And Michelle Whitney, she's a hope dealer. And every teacher in here that cares about a kid is a hope dealer. And I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me and done for all the students in our community. You guys are angels. You guys are healers. You guys just gotta grade more papers than some of us, but we honor you, and you're saving kids like me silently. So here's my 100-year plan. If you have a 1-year plan, you plant rice, right? If you have a 10-year plan, you plant a tree. If you have a 100-year plan, you teach a child. You teach a child to hope. You teach a child, you plant a seed of hope, right? It makes us hang on. We believe in everything from Elf on the Shelf, right, to the Easter Bunny. Kids can believe in hope too. And it's powerful because the thing is, hope is real. I would be remiss if I just ended my stories with, I had aunts and uncles and grandma and mom that were mentally ill and addicted to drugs. That stuff is true. But a half-truth is a whole lie. And the truth is, I remember even when I saw track marks in my parents' arms and my grandparents' arms, they always hugged us with those arms. They always told us that they loved us. They always told us that they loved us, even with all the mental illness and the drug use going on. We always remember hearing the words, I love you. We always got hugs. We always got encouragement, even in that dark place.
So if you believe like me in Jordan's message, when I say I am, you say Pasco, I am. Pasco. If you believe that you bring the sum total of who you are every day to impact the lives of our kids. When I say you are, you say Pasco. You are? Pasco. If you believe like I do that united, we can make Jordan's dream come true of a community full of hope and love. When I say we are, you say Pasco. We are? Pasco. And I'm so proud to serve you in my role. So if we could go to the next slide, I don't think this picture got the attention that it needs. I do really want to highlight our young friend right there in the back. Give it up for Jordan Chaney. Snazzy dresser then, snazzy dresser now. The part of this story that didn't get told this morning, and I think it would be remiss not to acknowledge it, is the story of the teacher. So this is Mrs. Gonzalez. Is anyone curious about her story?
Mrs. Gonzalez was such a beacon of hope for me personally, but also for my family, because my mom knew that I wanted to go and live with her because I kept finding dirty spoons and heroin needles in our home in first grade. And Mrs. Gonzalez was a stable, employed, loving, caring, positive adult that always hugged me and always showed me love and convinced me that I could be whatever I wanted to be, as an artist, as a poet, as a thinker, and that still has not left me to this day. And so, of course, once you get to your own definition of a mountaintop, you give it away. You give away what you've been given, and so I'm giving that to my community and the kids that I work with in my community, that same seed of hope.
So Mrs. Gonzalez, we did a little research, and I want to thank my friends Jenny Richardson, Carla Lobos Almadran, Carla Green, and Dr. Susana Reyes in helping me. When you put that team together to super sleuth someone, you find out information. So if you can click, let's highlight Mrs. Gonzalez. So here's what I know now about Mrs. Gonzalez. This was her first year teaching. I know, and she's not quite to retirement age. She went to Walla Walla, our neighboring community, to teach. She then got her principal certification. At the time, she was the youngest principal in Washington State. She went to Spokane, Washington, where she was a principal and then served at the district level as an executive director of teaching and learning, but missed her kids so much that she returned to a building to continue her journey as a principal again, and now she serves as principal in Meade School District. Today is Meade School District's first day of school, or they're training together. So her staff is in a room much like you guys spent last week, learning and preparing for the school year. So I couldn't help it. I reached out to her and I said, hey, tell me what you can remember about this young man. And she says, you know what, I remember that smile. She didn't mention the polo shirts, but she said, I remember the smile, and I remember that every day he hugged me and I hugged him back.
I obviously love Jordan. I loved him from the first day I met him as a first grade student in my classroom, and it's just so wonderful to be here with him today because he's the reason that I do what I do every day. I've stayed in education, getting ready to start my 34th year, and I never felt like I could do enough for kids, so just having first graders, and then I taught fifth grade later, I still felt like I needed to do more, and so I became a principal, so not only would I influence the 25 lives of my students every single year as a teacher, but I became a principal so I can influence the lives of 500, 700 kids every single day.
And she says, I used to joke with him that, hey, Jordan, you're going to get taller than me one of these days. You're going to be taller than me. Do you guys wonder if he's taller than her? Let's find out. Dr. Irene Gonzalez.
I want to apologize about the whole retirement thing. And it looks like you almost have like the same dress on. Thank you so much.
Don't I look the same?
You do. In my mind's eye, I've been sharing how much you've meant to my life for all of my poetry career, and it's 12 years sharing this story, and it's pretty mind-blowing that you're here. Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. And thank all of you Pasco School District teachers and Michelle for putting this together. And my mom's gonna be blown away. We're going to coffee after this. I'm a little speechless, but thank you all so much. Thank you, Michelle.
And it's just so great for me, and it just warms my heart to be able to see one of my students be successful, and 33 years have passed, and to be able to be united with you again just means the world to me. So it's just wonderful.
That's the 100-year plan right there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Gonzalez.
You're welcome. I think it's wonderful. I mean, how inspiring to think that you can be part of that, and you now are in turn touching so many other lives by you sharing your story, you giving hope, you having the mural. That is just wonderful.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you had a great hand in that, in the planting the seed process. So, and I hope that you get a chance to look at a lot of things. I want to share everything that I've done since I've met you, so that you can continue to take that inspiration, because what you do is so important. I think teachers are healers, and first line of defense for our future. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
So I'm Michelle Whitney, and I'm the superintendent for Pasco School District, and today was our back to school rally. It's an annual event where we bring all of our staff together to really get inspired and kick off the school year. And it's connected to a broader vision of hope in our community that really started under when I took over as superintendent 3 years ago. I come from a family that was deeply connected to the Pasco School District. My grandfather was chief of police. My grandmother was a nurse in Our Lady of Lourdes. So we are very deeply committed to civic service, and not only just civic service, but civic service to the community of Pasco. And the concept of Pasco Pride was really born decades and decades ago from previous community leaders that united people around the idea of being proud of our community, because the community of Pasco at different times in its history has really suffered some external criticism. So the idea is we band together in pride of who we are and what we do for each other as a way to show other communities that while you may be criticizing us, we're connected and united around proud of Pasco. So over decades that's evolved. Now as a community, or as a community of learners in Pasco School District, we, you heard the rally cry today at our rally. When I say we are, everyone says Pasco, and it really is fundamentally about our unification around knowing that together that we can change the trajectory of people's lives for the better. And this concept of hope has been woven into that, because what we know is as the society's fabric becomes more and more complicated, some of our families and children are losing hope. And people without hope, that's when they start to make desperate decisions, either around things that are self-harming or where we lose that unification as a community around Pasco Pride. So my vision is that we stand in the gap between hope and hopelessness, and it's our responsibility to our community's children to help people define a dream that's broader than their current circumstance. So in meeting Jordan and his deep connection to that same philosophy, it only seemed right that we band together between Pasco School District and his vision around the Hope Wall. And I don't think it's an accident that it's kind of basically in the parking lot of Pasco School District, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that Hope Wall evolves as unification around our Pasco Pride and we are Pasco.
The last message I want to share with you is about the power of love, right? I'm a poet, so I got to talk about love. And here's a poem that I wrote I want to share with you today. If you let it, love can move you. It can dance under the strobe light of your halo, even if you can't dance. It can enter you. It can mimic water and seep into every crack of your being and quench you. It can cut away the strings. Your heart can settle on it like a tiny boat and gently sway on the waves it creates, so never get lost at sea. With your permission, it can create you. It can reach you. It can heal you. I have witnessed it with my own foresight. It can tsunami all of your tears away all at once for all of forever. I promise you. So I say go forth and let it. Because once inside, it can scrub your soul completely clean and wash over the unfinished sandcastles of your dreams, giving you the freedom to rebuild again. Love can rebuild you and grant you the time to become whatever it is you wish to become. It has a nourishing quality. It can feed you. It can pour gravy all over your biscuits and then some. It can remind you. It can find you. Love can rescue you when you're stranded on the desolate island of your own heart, you and your volleyball named Wilson. Love says that if you open your soul for me, I will open all of my doors for you. And that's what I want, like a game show. I want what's behind all of her doors. I'll take anything from a silly $10 blender to the secrets of the universe. I'll take anything from the giddiness of a first kiss over a winning lottery ticket for all the days of my life. So if for any reason at all you've given up on yourself, on a relative, on a friend, your goals, your ambitions, your childhood fantasies, on love in any of her endlessly beautiful shapes and forms, then I encourage you to strike a match and light the bonfire once more and send your smoke signals up into the heavens and watch in wonderment as life becomes a ball of clay in your palm. Because if everything anybody has ever told you about life is completely wrong, your only hell will be memories you wish you could have lived or people you could have loved. So love yourself and nourish your talents. Love your neighbors no matter what language they speak, and give all of your pocket change to all those who need it most, because that's the most important thing. You see, if it means finding the truth to love, to life, I'll search the skies far and wide. I'll hike the pyramids or mountains of Mars in search of a bright dandelion just for her. Love has been a lamp under my sandals. It has kept me afloat. And like an old rusted boat anchor, I have this sinking feeling deep down in my bowels that when you're drowning, love is keeping your lungs inflated, and your lungs are keeping your body floating. And to keep the lava flowing, to keep the visions in flight and find that love is the only love of your life, well, all that's required of you, your only responsibility is to love. Thank you. Thank you, Pasco School District. You guys have an incredible school year. I look forward to seeing you. Stevens, I'll see you guys this school year. Thank you all so very much, and thank you, Michelle Whitney. Have hope. Spread love.
Whereas Pasco Day of Hope aims to raise awareness of community needs, promotes compassion for value for all people, and whereas Pasco Day of Hope is proud to uplift youth voices and to teach our children to have hope, whereas the City of Pasco is committed to embracing diversity and promoting equality through our workforce, residents, business, and visitors, I, Matt Watkins, get to proclaim November 2nd in the City of Pasco as Pasco's Day of Hope and ask everybody to think about and celebrate that day. And I'll give that to Jordan.